Hello, hello. We are here for the second edition of the Agent Talks podcast, and today's topic is innovations in the agent space, and we have three amazing speakers. First, we have Eitan, who is the CEO from the Kima Networks. Second, we have Ricardo, who is the CMO from CreatorBit. And I think we have also Thomas and Paulis from Whitebridge, also amazing agent project. So welcome, guys. It's lovely to have you here, and I would like to hear a little bit, just in a couple of sentences, if you could tell us a little bit more about the projects you are building, and then we can start with our agenda for today. Maybe best that we start with the Whitebridge. How are you guys?
We're doing good, doing good. Do you hear?
Yeah, we can hear
you. Okay, so in short, what we're building. So we want everyone to understand the digital footprint and what you left as a person on this earth in the digital space, in social networks, in Google, everywhere. So what we're doing is we want to have you, your personal reputation guardian agent, which protects you, your reputation, because reputation, especially in digital space, is a big thing. And then, of course, there are a lot of use cases which you're going to find out later on in the AI agents marketplace. But for us, everything is about people. So that's in short.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. Ricardo, are you there?
Yes, I am. GM.
GM, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Amazing. Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit more about CreatorBit. I think like majority of people are already familiar with the CreatorBit, but for the ones that don't know, can you summarize it, please?
For sure. If the majority of people are actually, if they know what CreatorBit is all about, that means that Martin was done somehow right. So I'm happy with that. But for sure, so basically, we are building a powerhouse for the next wave of smart agents. We started as an AI launchpad on Base, so this is the first chain that we decided to start building at. Then we saw an opportunity to go multi-chain. Very soon we will actually be multi-chain, and we are going to start developing as well on the BNB chain. This has been announced already. This is not anything new that I'm telling here. And the goal here is actually to offer the best tools and the best infra to help creators and teams launching their agents and to pretty much go for the long run on this agentic industry, if we may say. So that is the CreatorBit in a nutshell. Of course, I could give a 10 minutes answer, but at least this allows people to understand what it's all about.
Amazing. Thank you, Ricardo. We have also Eitan from Kima Network. Hi, Eitan. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit more about Kima and the agent you have been building?
Yes, certainly. So Kima is a unique interoperability protocol. We connect systems and ecosystems that cannot communicate with each other and cannot transfer money and value among themselves. So Kima is a blockchain that removes the need for intermediaries, and it is the only blockchain that is really asset agnostic. We can move assets between chains, but also soon between chains and bank accounts. So we provide a truly universal payment capabilities and communication capabilities between both the traditional ecosystems and the new emerging blockchain-based ecosystems. One of the features that we have is a network of liquidity. And since liquidity is at the heart of everything that we do, we also released recently an agent that lives on Twitter called Lima, and it provides insights and information to its subscribers about liquidity events in the blockchain space.
Love it. Thank you, Eitan. Let's start with you, Eitan, while you are speaking there. We all know that agent space is booming right now, and I would like to know, how did you get the idea to start your agent? And in your opinion, which are some of the most significant innovations currently shaping the agent space?
Yeah, so I think that we see, obviously this is a fast moving space, and we see a lot of innovation coming. But from our angle, one of the most important things is the integration of the AI agent space with blockchains. I think that this is one of the most important things that is happening, because this enables something new that is not available in other areas, and that is the ability for agents to hold and transact with value. That means that agents can pay and get paid. As we know, agents cannot open a bank account. They cannot have a credit card. So agents, the way to make agents really autonomous is to integrate it with blockchain and have them have a digital wallet. So that's, I think, the number one feature that will fuel the agentic economy. And obviously this opens the door now to many new autonomous agent use cases where agents can communicate with each other and pay each other. So that really creates a new economy in my mind. So this is, for me, from our perspective, the number one feature that we're looking at, and obviously Kima enables that by providing the interoperability for payment across those disparate ecosystems.
Agreed, 100% agree with you. I love it. Ricardo, tell us a little bit more, how did you start it with the creator bid idea, and how do you see which are the most significant innovations currently shaping the agent space?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just for context and clarity, I am not a co-founder, so I joined the company 5-6 months ago. So actually, Creativity was not my idea, but I saw a lot of potential on the AI industry, and so when I saw this possibility of joining the company, I immediately said yes. But I 100% agree with Eitan here, and I want to double down on the synergies between blockchain and AI. To be honest, I think that the easiest way to explain is that AI makes agents intelligent, but blockchain makes them transparent, and there is no manipulation possible. This combo between blockchain and between agents, or between blockchain and AI, to me is probably the strongest combo that I have seen since joining the space in 2020. I've been here for the last 5 years, and this is probably the narrative, if we may say narrative, because to me this is much more than just a narrative. Eventually, people will understand this. This is not just short-term hype. But put into simple words, I think this is basically smart technology joining forces with a layer of absolute transparency and trust. And so here we are always defending that we don't want middlemans, we don't need middlemans. And the truth is that agents will not need middlemans either. This combo will allow agents to operate independently. They will be able to handle transactions, as Eitan said, managing assets, executing tasks without needing middlemen. That to me is just insane, and that's amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Yeah. Thomas, what are your thoughts on this?
So, I agree with the colleagues. I think that autonomous transactions is going to be a big thing, and this is probably the agents, the biggest value add. And at the same time, I think that another biggest challenge for agent to work autonomously is trust. So you need to solve those two things. And the innovations who will manage to balance, because, we're dealing with the financial assets, with money. So autonomy in there also creates a huge risk for the cyber hackers and all other guys. So we need to be very cautious. So, and I think that innovations across security, cyber security, and trust is also should not be underestimated.
Yeah, and I'll also add, so Paul is here together with Thomas. So basically how we got into AI agents is we built a product for trust, for reputation, and we understood that the person, once they get their reputation exposure, there's no next step. So there's no action to take, there's nothing to do. So this is why we built an agent to help those people to do something with their reputation, whether it's fix it, improve it, remove something you don't want to be seen. This is how we come to the agents. And maybe to get back to the innovation question, so I think one major thing is also lots of companies are now going from quick insights to deep searches. And I think that will be another thing to look after, because from a quick search, you have a very small data set, and from a deep search, you have much more data to work on, and this can really help agents to show what they're capable of.
Yeah, agreed, and definitely about the trust part. I think that's one huge thing this space has been lacking, like the trust, because the amount of hacking, amount of scamming, like it's humongous in this space. So definitely we need like projects which are going to help us in this kind of area. So I think this idea will definitely will be a good one if you manage to pull it off. Uh, as you guys you are all builders here, I would like to know what are some of the biggest challenges you think that developers are facing when building an AI powered agents for this market. So maybe best that we start with you guys from Whitebridge. Can you tell us a little bit more about the challenges you had building a product so far?
So many challenges actually, because everything is new. So I think it's I'm not talking just for myself, it's for all developers. Very, very dynamic market, lots of changes. The main challenges is probably scalability of LLM models. Lots of them change, we see new ones, we see limitations on them, so you always have to adapt and adjust to work with it. We also have like a huge pace of changes. One day, the number one model is 4.0 from ChatGPT. Another day we see like Grok improves, then we see DeepSeek comes. So there's a lot of dynamic in the work of a developer to see what to use and what has the best results so far. And even if you're building your own agent, then you always face like new challenges with the new upcoming things. Another thing, like developers love structure. So lots of this lacks it, and there's a lot of things that are unpredictable. Even the terms like AI agents, these are new, and people like understand these terms differently. So there's lots to work with, lots to understand, and I think that's probably the main things that our development team was struggling when building this AI agent.
Yeah, and I can definitely relate with that. Like one day you have OpenAI, second day you have DeepSeek, a third day it's like Grok, and it's really tough to have like a long-term plans and to keep planning, because in this space every day something is changing and you have to be on your toes, prepared to change the course of the boat. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. Ricardo, you have the whole ecosystem of developers building the products,
Yes.
and I guess like you are connected with all of them. So how do you see like these kind of challenges they encountered while building the AI agents for this market?
Yeah, I like this question because I can separate into two different answers. One, the challenges we have as an infra provider, and two, the challenges we see actual teams building agents and the challenges that they are facing. So, as you said, as infrastructure providers, the space is evolving so fast, technology evolves so fast, that if we want to provide the perfect tools and the most advanced technology for builders, we need to be on top of everything that happens. One day there is DeepSeek, another day there is Grok, another day there is GPT-4, GPT-11. Like we need to be on top of everything and to be able to integrate every single piece of tech to allow people to build. And so I think that for infra providers, this is even more pressure accumulated, because if you are simply building one agent and you might be focusing on one aspect of the agent, for example, an agent that does predictions or an agent that does trading. And if it is not an agent that is a jack of all trades, you can stay in your lane and you can somehow focus on the technology you are building. But if you are providing infrastructure, you can simply stay in your lane without or completely disregarding what's happening around you, So you need to be consistently pivoting and adapting to the space. So this is obviously a challenge, but we will make it happen. Now, in terms of the builders, yes, we are pretty much in contact with the strongest builders in our ecosystem. We try to provide support and to help them building their agents and their assets for the long run. And I think the biggest challenge that we see teams building AI agents, not just in CreatorBit, but overall in crypto, is making agents truly understand and react to real world situations. At least in a reliable way. For example, when we look at AIXBT, the perfect example or the role model of AI agents, we see that even AIXBT sometimes FUDs itself or sometimes provides answers that are not true, are not reliable, and that's because the world changes very fast. And even if it is using a large language model and knowledge base as a source, sometimes it fails. And so this to me is probably what still needs improvements. AI needs better memory. They need better reasoning skills to handle fast changing environments. And of course, another big challenge is security. So bad actors can try to manipulate AI agents. We have seen an example of a user managing to have an agent sending money to him from its treasury just because the user told the agent to do so. So obviously there are a lot of flaws and a lot of things people will try to do to harm the space, but I think it's the responsibility of the projects to ensure they are pretty much building with security in their mind.
Definitely, and I think we have a huge responsibility as a founders to be able to be responsible for all of the users, because we are handling informations here and we have to be held responsible for all of the informations we are providing. So 100% agree with you. Eitan, what's your take?
Yeah, so I agree with everything that was said here. I want to add a couple more things. Touching on the security, so we need to add both security and privacy. So agents need to handle sometimes sensitive data and information in a secure manner. So I think that the whole cyber market is going to evolve and provide solutions for specifically for AI agents. We work on a solution that will ensure several aspects of security, including protection of data as part of the communication layer that we provide. But this is something that really needs attention, because we, in some cases, we also have regulations involved, and no one wants to just not knowingly override any of these regulations. That's one thing. The other thing is related to integration. So I think that we will see more and more multi-agent systems where agents will invoke and use other agents. So integration, again, this is our angle, interoperability. So I think that integration is going to be a challenge as well, in terms of how to move the data, not only from security perspective, but also in a way that data will be verified, but also be understood by other agents. We should not forget ethical concerns, because developers, they create these agents, and they also have a responsibility to address ethical and issues related to the decision making of these agents. These agents may be biased, and we need to ensure transparency and fairness by these agents.
Yeah, and you mentioned interoperability, and it's a really interesting question, Because right now in the space, like we have thousands of agents and everyone is specialized to do like a certain kind of thing. And what do you think in the near future? Will we have like only couple of agents that are really dominating the space, or are we going to have like the same amount of agents that are going to become really good at what they are doing? Because I'm going to speak in Agent XYZ name, like we started as an agent with one agent only, that was a TA agent, but right now we have like more than 30 agents like connected in the agent swamp and doing multiple things. And the idea is that we become like a unicorn in a trading department where we offer like all of the things you need in the trading specter. So I would like to hear what are your thoughts about this space and where are we moving in the near future?
Yeah, so I think that you're spot on. I've been in the technology space for a long time, 3 decades now. And in the past, we had this notion of web services and service architecture. I think agents is the best manifestation of these concepts, where we will see agents specializing in specific tasks, but then they will start joining forces, and we will see swarms of agents creating processes together that they were not even designed to do. So I think that, and this is our vision, is really to provide the infrastructure to make it happen from a security, communication, and money movement perspectives. So agents can really find each other, verify each other, communicate with each other, and pay each other. And then we can really think of an evolution where everything is composable. Agents specialize, but then they can join forces with other agents to perform tasks that they were not even designed to do.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. Ricardo, you are in touch with so many projects on daily basis. Like, how do you see, where do we go as a space? Do we go to the specialty, or do we go like with few market leaders in agent space?
Yeah, I think it's option A. To be honest, I don't see a future where we'll have just a few agents monopolizing everything and being the end all be all of utility. To me, AI is turning agents into problem solvers. This is pretty much the goal, and I don't really believe in the concept of one agent being a jack of all trades. Pretty much like human beings, but at least each agent will specialize in a specific problem to solve, and will become, of course, specialized in certain areas to extents no human could ever dream to achieve. That is the truth. There is no way to compete. But at least the way I see this is there are different verticals, different industries, healthcare, gaming, finance, you name it. And certain agents will start being created for specific tasks and to solve specific problems. I don't see AI, as many do, as the reason why humans will start losing all their jobs. I think this is a very chaotic way to look at things. I truly think that the humans, of course, that adapt to AI and that understand how to properly use this new technology to actually become better at their jobs will be the ones winning. That's for sure. Adaptation is everything. But of course, I agree with the ideas here. I think that agents will become specialized. Agents will be interacting with each other. Agents will be helping each other, growing, and pretty much taking the data of each other to actually understand the world properly. And I don't see a future where we'll just be controlled by machines like all everything we see in movies. I think the future is much brighter than that.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, especially with the jobs. I think a lot of like people who are living outside of this Web3 space, Web3 bubble, they are being afraid about losing their jobs and everything. And I'm still not sure, to be honest, like if, for example, if the AIs and the agents are going to take over like the amazing capability to do this stuff for us, like what is going to be our need, especially for the people who are doing like a simple jobs, I think it's really interesting thing to be thinking about, but I think we will definitely see for sure in the next few years, like how is it going to play out. But definitely interesting topic. Whitebridge, what are your thoughts about AI taking jobs from people, but also like specialized agents and the topic we had before?
So I always say that you need to study from history. Like think about when Google started. A lot of people were like, oh, those internet shop will take over brick and mortar business. It never happened. It expanded. The same like I was, developing app development company, then smartphoneization started. So, how I think how it will evolve, it's very similar to what happened with the mobile apps. If you would think how it was like millions of applications, and the ones who were doing the best in their field, either it's food delivery, either it's financial, either it's exchange, you have it on your phone. The rest apps, one click, and you delete it. And it's always somebody else makes better, and then you replace, or if it's too good, you have those two. So I think about the agents in the very similar way. You're gonna have agent marketplace or maybe future phone by Solano, I don't know by whom, where you're gonna be having those agents who are the best for certain use case. The only difference which never happened before, it's AGI, which eventually could learn from all of them. And then it's a big question if they will be needed at all. But it's a little bit far down the road. So if to think about 2-3 years, in my view, it will be happening the same thing, what happens with the app store on your phone. And then eventually think even like, iPhones. Eventually, they didn't have web app, they now have. They didn't have health app. They learned from the best, now they have. They didn't have a lot of things, but eventually they are becoming centralized, and there is no need of another developer of the web app, but it's still, there are tons of apps which are local and solving a little bit better certain particular case. So look what happened with the mobile apps, and I think you're gonna see very similar development path for the AI agents.
Love this idea. I think it's we are for sure going in this kind of direction. So yeah, I think it's just about getting your spot into the like app store if you are a agent builder. So yeah, I agree. I think we are going there. There is another interesting topic that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and I think right now we are in a space that we got an access to the humongous amount of data. We as a product founders but also as a users. So my question is, how can agents be designed to ensure that social data and on-chain data that basically that users are getting like real-time and relevant insights without overwhelming them with all of the data. So because right now like we have tons of data, and how do we find the right balance between providing too much and providing too little? Have you guys encountered the same problems with your projects? Whitebridge, we can start with you.
Also, like our tool, it takes all the data which is like online at that particular moment. So our agent exactly does it and matches the words and turns them into actions and to proposals. And then you think about how to merge that social and on-chain data. I think it's like very relevant thing, especially for the crypto space and especially for the QLs and influencers, because it might be that there is this connection between what you talk and what your wallet tells how you behave. So I think that agent can, what it can give, like if we would think about influencer, it could give you that I see what you are shooting out, and at the same time I see your wallet behavior, and then I can classify you to the dumper, to the hodler, or somehow else. So I think then you merge those two things, real behavior and what you talk, and this is what AI agents can do, and especially if we talk about transactions on the blockchain basis rather than just, like banking transactions which are not traceable.
Gotcha. Ricardo, what do you think about role of social and on-chain insights playing in decision-making capabilities of the agents? Do you think it's going to be a game changer? And how to regulate all these things?
Yeah, this is an interesting point because I think it's important to separate here social media from blockchain in terms of areas that agents can learn from. Usually I say that social media tells you what people are thinking. It's like a direct access into the human brain or sentiments. But then blockchain tells you what people are actually doing. And sometimes what we think or what we say is actually very different from what we do. We have seen this from the biggest KOLs. They say one thing or they post about one thing, but then on the blockchain, if you do on-chain analysis, you will see that they are actually doing the opposite. This is also what happens with market manipulation. And so from my perspective, the best AI agents will actually combine both capabilities. So they will be able to watch trends on social media. They will be able to analyze Google Trends as well. But also while tracking real transactions on the blockchain. So they will pretty much be able to predict with more accuracy than human beings market moves or community shifts. And that to me is probably the most important thing for agents to learn, which is to actually filter the noise or filter the excessive amount of information they have on socials and just focus on what really matters so that then they are able to give a more plausible or more reliable outcome. That is at least my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the first filter could be like the social, like getting the information first and fact checking it later on the on-chain. So yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Eitan, you have been the tech veteran and you've seen a lot of things. Like, what's your take? Where are we going as a space?
Yeah, so that's a real problem, and I think that we will see both solutions that we know from the past and also new solutions. So I think that since agents have this capability to use data to adopt themselves, so I think that part of the solution will be in agents becoming adaptive, and we will see interfaces that are adaptive to the needs of the users. So here, context is extremely important. That includes preferences of various types of users. Some would like to get bombarded with the data. Some would just want a subset, a small subset. But also the context of situation. If I'm currently driving, I may want to get just alerts in audio, and if I'm sitting waiting for my flight, I may have more attention and have a different consumption model. The other thing is adaptability to the user needs and personal preferences. A teenager is different from a developer, which is different from someone who's retired. So this is all about context and personalization. I think that we will also see ways to visualize data. So getting data from social media, getting it processed and visualized and provided in various modality, audio, video, graphs, text, all of these things can be generated by AI, by agents to adjust the way they are served to the user. So many of these solutions, at least the type of solutions we know from the past, But the exciting thing is the new capabilities that we have with the AI, being able to generate, process and generate data in new ways.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Eitan, and I agree with you. And you mentioned some things about personalization, and it's an interesting topic. So, in your opinion, like, what's the best way to balance personalization and automation within the ecosystem of the agent space? Because right now we have to think about these things. How much are we going to give to the users to decide, okay, what kind of things do I want? And on the other hand, like, is the user going to be smart enough to recognize his needs? And are we maybe better as a project founders to automate all these things? So what's your take on this?
Yeah, so I think that we will see a continuous learning. So agents will learn from user behavior over time, and will adjust to automate things accordingly. So that's an automatic, autonomous level of personalization without overwhelming the user from choices. At the same time, we will see balance that will be dynamically changed. So personalization can be explicit by the user, and it can be automated to ensure the optimal experience. And the last is what I implied earlier, is a contextual personalization, where the AI will understand the preferences and the context. If I'm driving, if I'm waiting, if I'm sitting, if it's night and I'm about to go to sleep. So context will be part of the personalization. And since we have these capabilities with the AI, which can be adapted and become autonomous, I think this will be baked into agents that interact directly with the human beings. Not every agent will necessarily interact with the end user.
Thank you, Eitan. Ricardo, what's your take? How are we going to balance the personalization needs and the automation within the agent's ecosystem?
Yeah, so Ethan said something that I agree with, which is the best agents will learn from their users 100%. But I think that for now we are not yet on that stage because we are very early in the space, and the users or the builders in this case, must actually be the ones setting the limitations in terms of what the agents can do for now. This actually allows me to sell a little bit the product at Creator V2, because deployers of agents and teams are actually deciding what actions and the limitations their agents can perform. So, for example, when it comes to treasury automation, they can set a maximum amount of ETH per transaction and the maximum amount of transaction to be used by the agents per day. They can set a maximum amount of X replies that the agent can perform per day as well. So I think that initially these limitations are important because the agents are still learning, the technology is still new, so it makes no sense to have an agent go rogue and do things that the human being doesn't want them to do. I think this is the first stage, but then eventually the goal is to find the right mix and letting AI handle routine tasks while pretty much keeping humans in charge of key decisions. There is a very, very cool project, I'm not remembering the name, but they have their AI agent acting as the CEO. So I think this is a cool narrative to sell to crypto degens. Of course, the agent itself is not taking any key decisions. It's just to make the narrative funnier in this case. But eventually we can actually see a future where there can be agents taking some decisions for the company. Of course, never key decisions, or at least not in the next few years. But this balance for now is important, and I think that on stage 0, which is the current stage we are at, we need human beings to set and impose these limits to automation.
Gotcha. And I think for the CEO, I think it's not going to happen so soon. But yeah, for some other roles in the team, it's going to be like rent an agent for a certain role in my team. So I can definitely see that we are going there. Whitebridge, what's your take? Personalization or automation within the agent ecosystem?
Yeah, so as a CEO, I would love a CEO agent that can do my job, but let's see if that happens. I think lots have been already told here. I fully agree with Eitan. In my opinion, context is king here to understand like what is the conditions of the person that is using the agent and whether it needs to be something personalized or something automated for them. I think we will come to this in steps. So automation for me is should start with something where we know what will be the result, and it's a repetitive task for us. We already know how it's done. This will start, and then we can go and automate things that are a little bit more difficult or have multiple conditions. And personalization, as already mentioned by Eitan, at first we can ask the user how he wants to receive feedback from an agent. Maybe it's a specific app, maybe it's voice, maybe it's video. And then if we feed a lot of data about ourselves, the agent should know when and how to communicate with us.
Thank you, guys. And for the last question for today, you all here are really busy building amazing projects, so I don't want to take too much of your time. So for the last question, we prepared interesting question. Like, I would like to know, how do you see the future vision of the agent ecosystem? And originally I wrote down, like, where do you see the future in the next 2-3 years? But I think it's so much in the future. It's too long, because space have changed so much in just last 6 months. So imagining where are we going to be in 2-3 years is science fiction. So maybe the better question is, like, where do you see the space going in the next maybe 1 year? And are there any upcoming trends and technology that we should be watching in the agent space? Eitan, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things. I think that we will see agents that are multimodal. That means that agents will communicate and integrate multiple modalities like voice, text, visual input. So it's not only about ChatGPT kind of interface. It'll be everywhere, anywhere, integrating with our environment and devices. So that's one thing which would be exciting. I really love using audio to communicate with ChatGPT. So I think we'll see more of that. The other thing in an unrelated aspect is marketplaces and payments. So we'll see both horizontal and vertical marketplaces where agents will be on display, and we will be able to mix and choose agents for various tasks. We already see many of those marketplaces emerge today. I think this trend will be more prevalent and will allow us to both vet agents so we can trust them, rate them, and consume from marketplaces. But the interesting part is the payment, which this is an area close to my heart, because this is where solutions like Kima can enable those micropayments or payments in general in multiple currencies and assets. Another thing is integration and composability. I talked about it. Agents will use other agents. We will be able to have batteries of agents performing tasks in ways that were not even designed. And maybe last but not least, this is something that I think we will see evolving in the next month and years, and that's more and more greater levels of autonomy. Agents will become more autonomous. We will trust them more, but there will also be ways for us to limit their autonomy. It'll be easier to define what kind of decisions they can make and what decisions they need to ask us, but we'll see higher levels of autonomy.
Love it. Thank you, Eitan. Ricardo, what's your take? Where do you see agent ecosystem going in the next 12 months, and which are the upcoming trends in the agent space?
Well, my immediate first answer is that in 12 months, probably I wouldn't be the person here speaking, but Creative Agent would be answering to you. Imagine just a space where actually the speakers are agents and all the listeners are humans. That would be such a plot twist, and I think it will eventually
But
happen.
the,
That's
the
for sure.
question is like, is it going to be interesting enough without the human intervention, human emotion, and all these things? What do you think?
That I don't think I don't think it will initially, but I truly think that AI technology will become so advanced and so powerful that eventually we will not even be able to distinguish if there is a person talking or an agent, which is somehow dangerous. But I think that's what we will see in the future. Now, in terms of the future for AI agents in the next year, and I like the fact that you didn't ask for the next 5 years because otherwise we will just be here using our crystal ball to make predictions, but 1 year is long enough. And I think that we'll see agents not being just assistants, but also acting as independent workers. They will be pretty much managing assets. They will be executing trades. They will be running somehow some parts of a digital business, and human beings will actually trust them with their capital and with their funds to so that the agent can perform these set actions. Again, the example of the CEO, I don't think there will ever be a CEO completely an agent. That makes no sense, at least for now. But for sure, we will see agent to agent interaction in businesses. We will see agents that can earn, that can spend, that can grow capital on their own. We will see investment funds saying that their AI vertical is now giving a 20% ROI in terms of return on investment, of course. So we'll see so many areas of real businesses changing with these agents that I think 1 year is still already a lot to try to have a grasp on.
Gotcha. I agree with you. And Whitebridge, let's hear from you guys. Where do you see space going in the next 12 months?
So maybe I'll put three things. So I think Bill Gates told like one good quote that we overestimate what will happen in like next 6-12 months, but we underestimate transformative impact in the long term. So I think that if maybe what will happen, if I would be doing another startup, I would be looking at the B2B SaaS most successful vertical startups and marketplaces and thinking how AI could do better job than they do it today. Can it do like 10x cheaper? And if it does, I would be creating AI agent projects. So this is like what will happen, and I think we will see AI agents eating those B2B SaaS startups and marketplaces. This is first. The second, I think with the great Elon Musk vision, we will start getting shipped the first humanoid robots, and some of them will start having them at our home, not only in the Dubai museum and other things. By the way, like if you haven't seen Google or ChatGPT or whatever SoftBank Vision Fund, Vision for the 30 years, it's like amazing document. So yeah, I think that we'll have more the same as you thought, like maybe AI agents talking and we're listening. So we will have more humanoids walking around us, and at least the first ones coming in and replacing some of the really repetitive, not very sexy jobs.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Thank you guys. Next week we will still have humans on the next version of the Agent Talks podcast. Maybe in a few weeks we will have the AI agent speaking, but I had really immense pleasure with speaking with all of you guys. We touched on really some important and interesting topics today. So thank you once again for being here, and I hope to hear from you on some of the other Agent Talks podcasts that we'll have in future. Thank you once again, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. Have a good one,
Bye
guys.
bye.